Hello, in this class we will discuss AI challenges. So we have seen that AI has potential to drive exponential changes. It can impact many aspects of our lives, and we have seen the main um, properties of artificial intelligence, the main approaches to develop AI systems, and now we'll discuss what are the challenges for AI, both in the ethical aspects, how AI can impact the ethical society, our culture, and also the economic impacts, especially in the unemployment. So there is a big discussion regarding about AI and how it will can impact some jobs, some opportunities, the workforce, and we'll discuss this during this class. And to start, I bring here a citation from Andrew Nee, that one of the most prominent persons in AI field. He is also founder of Coursera, the MOOC, the online massive online courses. And Andrew Nee says about AI, and this is the quote: "Just as electricity transformed almost everything close to 100 years ago, today I have a hard time thinking of an industry that artificial intelligence will not transform." So here he's comparing AI with electricity, and we can see this, that electricity transform all the industry, all the economic sectors, and artificial intelligence is the same. So it will impact education, it will impact uh, industry, it will impact technology field, it will impact healthcare, it will impact everything. So we will need to discuss how AI, and in this class we discuss how AI will impact many different fields, and it will give us opportunity to develop thinking in the society. So it's like an AI for good, but in meantime we will discuss what are the impacts and the challenges of AI on those segments of society. And to start here, I can start thinking and like discussing with you about the interaction with technology. Nowadays, we mostly use like keyboards, screens as a way to interact with technology. So we search on Google, we search on Facebook, we search on YouTube to get the information. And the information is presented to us uh, towards the screen. So we see the information and we can navigate on this information. But AI is like bringing us a new opportunity to develop user interfaces by voice, or voice user interface. And we can now discuss with the technology. We can give instructions to the technology by using our voice. And it's very powerful because it's the most natural user interface that we have. That is our language. So I don't need to type anymore. I just can ask Alexa, Siri, and so on. But here there is one challenge. There are a lot of challenges, but I will discuss just one with you now. That is that sometimes when you ask something for your voice assistant, most of the time it will return you with just one single response. So sometimes when you are looking for a content, you go to Google and you see a plurality of information. But when you ask these questions to the voice assistants, you just receive one single response. And it's a problem because it's like reducing our agency in the world, our access to the information. And just is it's just the beginning. I mean, there is another controversial topic, that's why the voices of user interfaces, most of the time I woman woman voice. So that's one problem that we also need to address. So here it's just for example that, for example, voice user interface, it's powerful because it's close to the natural user interface. In the same time, it just bring us one single response, and in some way it's limiting our access to the information. It's reducing our access to plurality. Okay, so it's one of our challenge. The other one is like we are building new services using AI. That one example of Amazon Go. That I had the opportunity to visit the store in San Francisco, and it's amazing. You just enter the store, you can grab all the items you want, and you leave the store and you receive the the invoice in your phone. You don't need to scan anything. Okay, you just grab and go. And it's like amazing. It's like the better shopping experience I ever had. Okay, it's like the best shopping experience at all. It's incredible. You don't need to stay online. You don't need to go to the checkout. It's amazing. But it will also bring us some challenges, especially as privacy. So they are monitoring all your movements, all your behavior inside the store. So you have a lot of sensors, cameras in in the in the store, and they are monitoring you. So to know if you grab a product or if you return a product and so on. So they are collecting a lot of information from your behavior. So here we have one challenge, that is privacy. And privacy is one challenge that's not only on this shopping experience, but it's regarding all of our digital life, as we are using social media, consuming digital videos, and so on. So here is one example of our challenge, that is privacy. Another uh, area that is using artificial intelligence is in justice and social security, and also many aspects of our government. Okay, so here is, well, is one example in the justice systems. So in the United States, some states use one system called Compass, that calculates the probability of reincidence. Okay, so, and it's great because sometimes it can help to reduce some type of bias, but in other way it can perpetuate existing types of bias. So in this example, and I will give you access in the additional reading, the additional material. So I ask you to read this this text because it's amazing. It's one of the most famous article text about bias in machine learning. It was produced by ProPublica, that was one agency of investigative journalism, and they research about this technology Compass, and they notes that the system was, was showing some biased behavior because it was like um, scoring black people as high probability to reincidence in crime, and white people as lower probability to reincidence in crime. So here it's an interesting topic that you have chance to read and see all the details. And this topic is very important because it open up all the discussion about machine bias in the academic community. So it was an important job. So I ask you to read carefully the document because it's very interesting to see how AI can drive us or can perpetuate existing type of bias, in this case racial bias. So it's very interesting, and it's a tool that has been used in justice system in the US for many years. So it's one challenge that we need to address. And here it's another area um, of society that can be impacted by AI. That's recruiting and jobs opportunities. So here is one example that Amazon uh, developed a system, AI system, to help to recruit personnel for the company. So Amazon receives thousands of um, curriculum and applications per day. So Amazon developed a system to try to filter the applications uh, to to help like people, the recruiters, uh, to deal with this like overload of applications. And it's interesting because it can help to better matching the the application with the opportunity. Sometimes it can reduce some type of bias such as affinity. For example, if I study in one university, I am more probable to um, hire people from the same university. But this example showed us one big challenge because this system at Amazon was discriminating uh, human application. Okay, so it was putting higher score for male application and lower score for woman application. So here we have a discrimination using data from the past because to train the system, Amazon used the historical data. And as you can imagine it, Amazon is a technology company, so the majority of personnel in the higher decisions are male, so the systems learn that for better decisions, male are better. Because actually it's not the true, but it was what was in the data, because there were no information, no data about human decision because they were not part of the workforce. Okay, especially in high in high level decisions, for example. So it's one example in the recruiting. Another example is in healthcare. So here healthcare is using a lot of AI, and it definitely it's an area that can have great results using artificial intelligence. It helps to in the diagnosis, especially in image diagnosis. It can help to reduce costs it can provide a better assistance. But there is some problems, and the problem that it can discriminate against people with limited access to healthcare. And if you imagine it, for example, in a hospital in the US, probably it will have more data from white people than black people. So the system will learn better uh, to uh, like to propose a treatment for white people than if you compare, for example, to black people. And this is one problem that we also need to address. And this here are two examples. One that is from this year, that an algorithm in UK helped to allocated scores for students because they don't have one test due to the pandemic. And the other one is that I will ask you also to read. I will give the link for the additional material. That is one paper, one scientific paper published at Science, and they like try to dissecting the racial bias in an algorithm that's used to manage health uh, of population. So it's one system that try to allocate dedicated treatments for people with chronic diseases, and they also show that the system prefer like to allocate the treatment for white people if compared to black people. So that's one problem that we need to address. And why it happens? It happens because, as we have seen, machine learning, artificial intelligence, in most of the case is based on learning by example. So we give the machines, we give the machine example, so the machine can learn from example by example. And here is what happens. Like, if I'm trying to develop an AI tool for healthcare, I need to have this in my mind that black people have difficulties to access the healthcare systems, the healthcare environment in many countries, and in consequence, black people will have less data in this system. So if I use the data from the past to train my model, I need to have this very clear to me, that sometimes I will discriminate one group based on race, or based on gender, or based on religion. So it's one problem that we need to address. Uh, and it's one topic that is like one of the priorities topic of research in machine learning. We do not have answers now, but I'm here just to say that this one challenge that we'll need to address for the coming years. I think like for the 5 to 10 years, that one topic that will be very present in our discussions. And of course, one last topic is AI and unemployment. We see that AI can, of course, impact many jobs opportunities, especially the jobs that are repetitive and so on. And probably AI will destroy um, jobs opportunities more quickly than it can create new opportunities, but it will create. So we need to think in our skills. So my in the discussions that I participate, we just thinking about the skills. And one of the most important skills that we have, that we'll need to have in the future, is the skills of holistic view, especially in design. because design, it's like it's more common to think in design regarding graphics design and so on, but it's not true. Design is more than that. This design is a process to deal with our reality. So in the next sessions we will also start to discuss about the importance of design for the future. And now it's reading time, so I will share with you some documents that I will ask you to read, because you'll have more information about the challenges of AI, especially in this topic of fairness. Is AI fair? And is AI discriminating some groups? So I will share some important documents that you can read and go through. And in the next class, we'll discuss more about the design. Okay? See you soon.